massive implants and it still looks like crap. Final journal entry coming to you from my life world, which actually has shrunk to this small office in this educational facility, and this office sometimes doubles as a broom cupboard. It's my retirement day, or as we call it these days, recycling day. Much has changed. I don't know what year that you're actually seeing this, because this exercise in what we now call retro literacy, using very old technology, is actually being sent back in time. And I have no idea if anyone's able to actually pick it up out of the ether or off the cables or bouncing off satellites or whatever's happening back then. But I thought I might share my final thoughts. It's a kind of day where it's a lot less goodbye Mr. Chips and a lot more hand us back your implants, but it has been an interesting few decades teaching. Much has changed, of course. Education is completely privatized. In this state, education is run by News Limited. So, of course, media studies is now called Murdoch Studies. But you might be interested to know that one of the positive things I think that has happened is that the critical literacy proponents, the multimodal magnates, they've prevailed, they've won the day, because now the subject area called humanities, what has latterly become cyber humanities, is now called hegemony studies, or hegemony studies, depending on what school you go to. But I'm afraid I think I crashed on that multimodal highway some years ago and haven't quite got back up to speed. But you know, I mean, I've lasted this long, teaching, instructing, facilitating, whatever terms we use at any given moment, trying to relate to the students' life worlds. But of course, I mean, they're not actually called students anymore. They're called global citizen self-educators. And I'm not actually, haven't been a teacher for quite a while. I've been known as an educational facilitator, an EF, or F as in effing teacher. Schooling, wow. Schooling has become much more virtual and much more, I think the positive term has been self-directed, really, on behalf of the students. Which means that with the sort of growth of virtual technologies around education, it's become a lot cheaper, in effect, and I have latterly had a class officially of 100 students. It's global citizen self-educators. Most of them don't attend school. They're at home, plugged into their machines, those strange shaped things in the corner of the room that they can talk to and interact with. And because it's all so much more virtual, it can happen in some ways on the global citizen self-educators' own terms and in their own time. So they don't have to be here, which is, you know, a relief, really. But the thing is that I really have not been their main teacher for some time. Because it happens in a virtual space, it's actually my avatar who's doing most of the facilitating of the learning. And my avatar is much smarter than me. And the subject area that the students spend most of their time doing is hyperliteracy. The new educational acronym for hyperliteracy is EIE, which stands for Everything is Everything. And that pretty much sums up the approach. It's all-encompassing, and it supposedly relates to their current life worlds. Just reflecting back on the early years of the 21st century, when I attended university and to learn about education, The thing that strikes me the most, thinking back, is how many, that it was a time of a great many acronyms. There were the 4 P's and the 5 E's, 6 F's and a couple of D's or something. That may have been my marks at the time. But there was the acronyms, but also the formulae and the new theories, constantly new theories, invigorating ones. In fact, the Emperor's New Clothes never looked so shiny. So my main message, well, 2 parts to it. The main message is multimodal highway is sort of back in action. It's, you know, occasionally suffers from the odd traffic jam, but and culture critical, literally critical literacy. That's it. It's that's the thing. And the other message I have to tell you is, allow me a personal one. The end of my career. And I don't expect you to believe me, because I have been described as an embittered, ranting paranoiac with dystopian ideation. But honestly, that was really only my performance appraisal. So the message that I have to give you, I'm not even allowed to say it out loud. These are not words that are actually legal anymore, so I have to write them down using pen and paper, something almost unheard of these days. This is my final message to you, whoever you are, whenever you're getting this. There it goes.